Hello everyone, I'm Greg Otto here with FedScoop TV, and I'm here at the Mobile Gov Summit today, and I'm talking with Paul Tatum, the VP of Sales Engineering for Salesforce. Paul, thanks for joining us today.
Great. Thank you, Greg. Great to be here.
So, mobile government. Talk to me about what you think the most pressing issues are when it comes to enabling a mobile government workforce.
You know, Greg, as I think about that, I think it's kind of twofold. I think one of the most pressing issues is the fact that there's a value-benefit question in relationship to the cost and complexity of mobility. And so when federal agencies think about mobility, they think a little bit about, is it really the benefit I expect versus the cost and complexity that I think exist in it. And the reality is today that mobility is available. We see it commercially in retail. We use it personally for banking. We see it in transportation, real estate. And so we know it's possible and we know it's valuable. At Salesforce, we tend to think of mobility as mobility first, mobility easy. And so everything we do in our products is mobile first. It comes out of the box that way. And here at FedScoop at the Mobile Summit, we'll be doing a demo just to show that's possible. We're going to kind of go without any nets or wires and kind of show what it's like to mobilize the mission here in the federal agency space. So stay tuned for more.
So talking about how you were saying how in retail and real estate and all these other private sectors, you know, mobile's a little bit faster and a little bit more ingrained than it is in the government. Do you think the answers to getting it into government more are technology-based or are they more policy-based?
I think it's a little bit of the technology and maybe not policy, but strategy.
Okay.
So on the strategy side of things, it does need to be at the top of the list. You know, as agency leadership think about what the strategy and policies and priorities are for their agency, where does mobility sit? Is it a nice to have or is it a must have? Now in the commercial space, it's a must have. We see that banking and retail and everybody else is driving mobile platforms, mobile applications out to the consumer and out to the employees because they know that it creates great value there. And so really the question for us in government is how do we drive mobility out to that workforce, out to that mission, out to that customer base, maybe the citizens, in order to enable them and how they interact with government. Now with FedRAMP certification of cloud technology like Salesforce and others, mobility is available today. The security aspects have been addressed. And so it's really about where to start. You know, what mission, what application, where are the first steps? And that's what I would really encourage federal agencies to think about is just start the journey, you know, to get going.
And okay, going back to something you said, you talked about the security aspects have been talked about. Not all CIOs tend to think that security is just ingrained in their heads, that they have to worry about it, and they still worry about it a lot.
Yes.
So what do you think security-wise, what's the message to CIOs who are looking to embrace mobile but still are kind of worried about that balance between security and the innovation?
I think to many respects, the mobility aspects of security have been addressed. You know, obviously there will be some other little nuances that they need to look into, but you know, there is device management, so that's taken care of. You can encrypt the sessions, you can protect the phones, and ironically what we're seeing today in the cybersecurity threat is that they're going after the systems of record because that's where everything is aggregated. Everything is there, it's kind of like the bank vault, right? So a single mobile phone is not that interesting. There's very little data on it. It's a small access point. So the ability to protect those systems of record have always been there and always will be. So the question then is, if you are concerned about that security aspect of mobility, find something small. Find something that can reach out to your citizens. Maybe like in the state and local case, it's 311 where they're enabling citizens to participate with their city. Maybe in the federal space, it's some kind of application process that can start to interact with that citizen. Or inside of, like, for example, a GSA application where they can start to inspect buildings through a mobile phone. So there's some low-hanging, I think, missions that can be addressed through mobility, where security, I think, has already been addressed, but can also kind of be factored in to those mobile apps.
Okay. So finally, talk to me about what you see out there in the mobile landscape already. Is there a killer app or a capability that is out there that can help move the government to fully get over the hump for mobile?
Yeah, so this is a fun question to think about, right? What's the killer app for government? I think the killer app for government will be the application that can span multiple government agencies or missions or functions for government. The analogy you might think of is like the Swiss Army knife.
Okay.
So typically as a citizen or as an employee of government, we have to kind of work into specific agencies or missions or processes, one by one. A perfect example of this, my daughter recently got married. I was talking with her a couple of months after the wedding, and her first interaction with government in any significant way was changing her last name. And that was not a pleasant experience for her. Multiple agencies, standing in line, dealing with paper processes. And she came away, and her experience, in her 20s has been dealing with organizations mobily in a single click, multiple steps on her mobile phone. And so she didn't understand, or she really didn't anticipate this manual process dealing with government. So kind of that application that helps agencies or employees kind of span the function of government will be the killer app, in my opinion. Now at Salesforce, I have the killer app as an employee of Salesforce. It's called Salesforce One. Everything that I need to run my business is on my phone through that application. It's my Swiss Army knife for basically dealing with everything that I do in my job, whether it's appointments, approvals in my queue, setting up cases, looking at opportunities, looking across the organization, reaching out to fellow employees. It's all inside that application. And so I really don't want 20 applications to deal with my company
Who does?
Or an agency. I want one. And so I think that killer app will be the ability to span multiple functions and agencies in a single application.
Great. Well, Paul, very interesting conversation. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Greg. Good to see you.
For more of our videos, you can check out our YouTube channel. And for more information, you can check out FedScoop.com. I'm Greg Otto. Thanks for watching.